in the special counsel's Russia investigation. This 20-page letter dated January 29th argues that the White House and transition team have already handed over documents related to the investigation and that the president cannot be forced to testify. Lawmakers also claim President Trump cannot obstruct justice since he has absolute authority over all federal investigations. House Intelligence Committee Chairman Devin Nunes is joining me right now from the World Ag Expo in Tulares, California. And Congressman Nunes is also a member of the House Ways and Means Committee. Congressman, it's good to see you this morning. Thanks for joining us, Mr. Chairman.
Great to be with you as always. Thank you. I
want to ask you about this letter in a moment, but first I got to ask you about one of your colleagues, Congressman Trey Gowdy, and his remarks recently on Fox News when he spoke with our own Martha McCallum. You've been joining us now for several weeks for over the last year as you continue to investigate what it was that launched the FBI's investigation into Trump potential collusion with Russia. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct, and I think that Mr. Gowdy's comments that he made earlier.
Well, wait a second. We're going to show those. We're going to show those comments. We're going to show those comments. First, I just wanted to make sure this is that your investigation is looking into how that investigation launched. So here's what Trey Gowdy said to Martha just last week.
I am even more convinced that the FBI did exactly what my fellow citizens would want them to do when they got the information they got, and that it has nothing to do with Donald Trump.
Congressman, what does Trey Gowdy say there?
Well, what he's really talking about there is that Trey Gowdy believes that he has been told multiple times by the Department of Justice that Donald Trump, President Trump, is not a target of this investigation. He believes that he's been told that multiple times. And so he comes to the conclusion, well, if they were only going after Russians, if the FBI was only going after Russians and Donald Trump's not a target of this investigation, then what is all this about? And so the mainstream media continues to ignore that piece that Mr. Gowdy, I think, has clearly said now on multiple occasions, but was very clear about it last week, and that President Trump is not a target of this investigation in his own mind. Now, you have to remember that Mr. Gowdy loves the FBI and the Department of Justice. I think all Americans want to have a good Department of Justice and FBI doing their job. And if they're targeting Russians or Chinese or what have you, that's what we expect them to do. However, the challenge we have in this is that they actually targeted a political campaign that was Donald Trump. And that's where I think that even though Mr. Gowdy believes that the president's not a target of this investigation, his campaign is, and I think that's where the challenge occurs.
So do you think then that the FBI did the right thing in terms of investigating the campaign, looking for Russia interference?
Well, you know, Mr. Gowdy has, under what he's heard, he believes the FBI was doing the right thing. And you know what could solve this? For a year, we've been waiting, almost a year now, we've been waiting for documents from the Deputy Attorney General. So Deputy Attorney General Rosenstein could provide all the documents, all the information that we need this week, and we could write a report. We could write a letter by Friday.
The entire nation has witnessed the shameless conduct of the Democrat Party. They're willing to throw away every standard of decency, justice, fairness, and due process to get their way. They don't care how they get it. You see it happening before your eyes. I think it's actually an incredible thing that's happening, and I just hope you don't sit home, because bad things will happen if you sit home.
President Trump doubles down on the Democrats at tonight's rally in West Virginia. And one of those Republicans running is House Intel Committee Chairman Devin Nunes, who is back with me here in New York in part 2 of this live Justice exclusive. You know, Chairman Nunes, you really were the topic of a lot of headlines, a lot of discussions on television as it related to the memo related to the investigation of the FISA warrant. Mm-hmm. The president last week or the week before said he was going to declassify the information relating to that. And I must tell you personally, everyone I talk to across the country wants this declassified. He was with it, declassify it, no redactions. All of a sudden, he said, I'm going to give it to the Inspector General. What happened?
I'm guessing that many people that don't want this out went to the White House and had a meeting and told the president a bunch of things that weren't true, like things about scaring that our allies don't want this out, which is a ridiculous statement. I mean, how would the allies even know what's in a FISA warrant?
Right.
So I think the president got a little spooked on this, then turns it over, says he's going to have the IG look at it. But look, we've worked so hard to get this information out to the American people. We want full transparency here on all the matters.
Right.
So there's 20 pages of the rest of the content of the FISA that we want out. And why this is so important is because this gets to the insurance policy that, remember, Strzok and Page were talking about. We believe this was the insurance policy, okay?
Clearly.
The content that's left. You also have people who are saying, oh, the really bad stuff, it really wasn't the dossier. It wasn't the dossier that was used, the Chris Steele dossier, and it wasn't the fake news stories. It was really all that stuff that's behind the redactions, okay? So it's not true. What's behind those redactions, the American people do need to know about.
All right, so let's say that, you know, if they're worried about sources and methods and national security, that stuff can come out. I mean, that's simple to do. But I wonder, is this connected to Rod Rosenstein? He's fired or he's not fired. There's a meeting, there's not a meeting. Is this about Rosenstein applying leverage of some sort? Because it seems to me he's the one who's going to fall when this is exposed.
Well, he signed the last renewal of the FISA. So really, I don't even know why he would be even involved in this process. I mean, he should not be advising the president on this because he signed the last FISA. We in Congress, everybody in Congress, the speaker, the leader, the whip, the whole intelligence committee, nearly every Republican has called for these documents to be declassified.
And the president did what changed his mind.
And changed his mind. So if Rosenstein was involved in that process, I mean, that should be an immediate dismissal of whatever happened in that meeting. Because remember, every time we've moved to get things declassified, what do they say? They say that we're going to ruin national security. And what happens every time? The information comes out and it makes Department of Justice, FBI, and all the Clinton campaign people and Fusion GPS, they all look bad.
You found massive abuse. Now that it's been forwarded to the Inspector General, he's done an investigation on Comey and McCabe, and honestly, I'm not impressed, to be honest with you. I mean, you know, good for him, but there's nothing that comes of this. All right. I mean, I could have impaneled a grand jury to indict McCabe without the Inspector General giving me a 500-page report. All right. So what is the IG doing?
Look, the IG's fine. It's great.
Yeah, he's a good guy. Who
can look at
cares?
it. But we are a separate branch of government. We created the Department of Justice. We have every right to see that information. We have decided that the American people need to see this information. The president wants the American people to see the information. So how is it possible that this can be held up? And I think all they're trying to do is stall till after the midterms. I've always believed this.
Everything.
But we are right at the end, right? We've got 20 pages of the content, which is the insurance policy. We have the Bruce Orr 302s, right, which are the reports.
Right.
So, though, remember, this is Bruce Orr's wife was working for Fusion GPS, which is essentially working for the Clinton campaign, as this was being funneled into the FBI to open up and start and investigate the Trump campaign. So why would we still be here, you know, nearly a month away from the elections, and we still can't get transparency out to the American people? So the president's got to do something.
Well, you know, I've heard he watches the show. So we'll see.
Too. I've seen him live on this show, calling in,
Congressman
eating up the whole show.
Congressman, thank you so much for
Judge.
being here. It's an honor to have you here in our studio. I'm looking at Congressman Devin Nunes joining me now in a Justice Exclusive to discuss the open as well as the president's rally tonight, the Kavanaugh nomination, and so much more. We have a lot to get to as California Congressman, House Intel Committee Chairman Devin Nunes. Good evening, Congressman, Mr. Chairman. It's a pleasure to have you in New York.
Great to be here with you.
Thank you so much. All right, I want to go right to what the president was saying. He had a lot to say about the letter that was leaked on Dr. Ford, the one that Feinstein had. Let's take a look at this sound for a second.
Remember? Dianne Feinstein, did you leak? Remember her answer. Did you leak the document? What? No, no, I didn't leave. Well, wait 1 minute. Did we leave? No, we didn't leave.
Your take on that?
What you're seeing is the collapse of institutions in this country. It's really, really concerning. When you take a Supreme Court justice and you have senators talking about high school yearbooks, you're watching the collapse of the Senate, the collapse of the Republic. It's really, really dangerous
What
place
about
we're in.
Feinstein and her role? You and I both know, and I don't have time to go through it for all the viewers, all this stuff is supposed to be handled. She questioned him. The Senate knew everything, had the opportunity. Why?
Well, there's two things there. First, she had a responsibility to share that with Republicans. And second, she should have made sure that the FBI knew about that as they were doing an additional background check.
Is there a kickback for her? Is there a political kickback for her before she releases it to Chairman Grassley, Senate Judiciary? She gets a lawyer for the woman.
Right. Well, look, Judge Kavanaugh actually said it best. And I think every American should go back and look at his testimony. Mm-hmm. Probably skip the questions that the senators were asking, but his testimony was amazing. Every American should watch it because he talked about the scheme that they all had working together. It was clear that you had outside groups funding an attack on him, and they knew, I guarantee you, many outside groups knew that they were going to drop this bomb because it was their last second chance to try to stop Kavanaugh from becoming a Supreme Court justice. And then, of course, that happens, and then you've got all kinds of other accusations, and God only knows what's going to come out in the next week here.
And, you know, the whole idea of, you know, the insistence now that the FBI investigate. I mean, if the first 6 FBI investigations didn't indicate anything, how is this one going to be a better one?
Well, I don't even know where the FBI would start, right? Because she gave her testimony, so I doubt there's any more than that. All the other people have sworn which would be a crime if they lied.
Right, if they go back on what they said.
So you have no witnesses, you don't know the location. How do you even start to investigate this?
And, you know, she hasn't even asked the Maryland police, for which apparently there is no statute of limitations, to investigate it. What do you think of that? Well,
because how would the police investigate it? No one can investigate this.
But she doesn't want it investigated.
Well, supposedly she didn't want her name out there in the public.
Okay,
but there's a whole group of people that are coordinating this effort, both inside in the Senate with the Democrats and on the outside with all the left-wing groups, with the media tailing right behind.
What about Flake? What's going to happen with, Heidi Heitkamp, Murkowski, Collins? What are they going to do?
I believe that the senators that are in the red states, I think if they don't vote to confirm Kavanaugh, I think they're going to be in big trouble in this election. Because one thing that's happened, Republicans are happy with the economy. I mean, every American should be happy with the economy, right? But what you're seeing is that finally Republicans are waking up, that this resistance movement, everybody thought this was a joke, like some kind of term off of Star Wars. But they're starting to see now, because of the situation that Judge Kavanaugh is in, what many of us have been dealing with for the last 2 years.
Okay. All right. And Congressman Nunes, you're going to stay right here. There's more to get to.
Okay. The only thing, you get to be rich, it's the same problems, just bigger. Okay? Mm-hmm. There is one game changer, and that is private air travel. That changes your life entirely. Okay? Other than that, all the same. Media. I've seen some things that are game changing in certain ways, being able to do it online instead of on TV, and it's pretty big. No. I went to something called The Void. Have you heard about this yet?
No.
There's only one in Texas. It's Lucas. It's George Lucas that has done it. And the one in Texas is at the Cinemark in West Plano. I think it's $30 for 15 minutes.
Whoa.
I'd pay $60.
What? What do you do?
What is it?
What is it?
Okay. It is virtual reality. And you go in, you put on this virtual reality suit, you put on the goggles, And then you go into this room that's just like it looks like a cubicle. When your goggles are up, it looks like a cubicle. It's all it is. You put the goggles down and they start, and you are now in Star Wars.
What?
Yeah. It's unbelievable. You only go with 4 people, maximum 4. And so you're going in. And my kids, we were all stormtroopers, and I could tell who was who because we all are linked by comms and the sizes are there. But you put the goggles down, they're in suits. You are in a suit. You look down at yourself and you're in a suit. You put your hands out and you're in a suit. And
That's cool.
You go and you reach for things, and it happens. At one point, the Empire is pulling you over. You're on this mission, and it pulls you over. And you remember that? No, probably nobody remembers this, but whatever that planet was, it was all lava. That episode 3. Mm-hmm. Okay, you're pulled over on that planet, and the doors open up, and you have to get off of your ship and get into theirs. The doors open up. You feel the heat of the lava. And wherever you look, you're on the planet. It's unbelievable.
How is it I've not heard of this place?
It's brand new. Just opened the last.
Void?
The Void.
And it's in Plano?
It's in West Plano, the only one in Texas. It is game changing.
Wow.
I said to Rafe, because I don't play games, all that stuff on. I don't know how you're going to leave virtual reality. It was the coolest experience I've ever had. You were there. I fought Darth Vader. It was unbelievable. You really feel when you're walking out on the ship, you're walking out and when you look down, it looks like you're on a grate. So you're seeing the lava beneath you. It actually gives you that spooky feeling of like, I'm going to fall.
Really?
Yeah, it is unbelievable.
I have to do this.
Unbelievable. This month,
how many does he have nationwide? Do you know?
Don't know. This month it is Star Wars. Next month is Ghostbusters, and you're going in and you have the power pack. It's crazy.
Oh my God, I got to try. Because obviously the virtual reality thing is not done to this level normally. Like they have some stuff, and I don't think it's
this is serious. No, this is well done.
My sons have a little mobile unit, and it's like, okay, it's kind of cool. Here.
You fight.
Take it back.
You're fighting. When you're fighting, you've got a blaster, and you're fighting. And when you're shot, you feel it. You get a tingle in your chest or wherever it is they shoot you. It's amazing. It is the closest thing to.
I didn't know that was
Ready Player One.
I didn't know that was available now.
Yeah.
They talk about that being something that's going to happen in the future, but to have it here,
and tickets, it's sold out all the time.
Really?
All the time, it's sold out, and it is fantastic.
How far in advance do you have to?
I don't know. You just have to call and just see.
Yeah. Wow.
But get your ticket.
Very cool.
You will love it.
Yeah.
And find it if it's in your state or in your area. Again, only one in Texas so far. It's at the Cinemark in West Plano, and it's called The Void, and it's Lucasfilm.
Really cool.
Really good. All right.
That's valuable information.
Right?
We
That's
can sit here
valuable
and blab
information.
about
Yes.
taxes all day.
Right.
Now I want to go do
But
that.
now you've given us something we can appreciate.
I want to go. Let's go. We should all go together.
Oh, I would love that.
Yeah.
It is
fun.
so cool. It is so fun.
Gives us a chance to use weapons against Glenn, too, Pat.
Wait a minute.
Yeah,
No,
we're sure we're just imagining what we want to do, but,
we're supposed to be on the same team.
I'm sure.
Yeah. All right. Okay. All right. I want to talk to you a little bit about Filter By. Stu, when's the last time you met a real man? I mean, a man like your dad used to be. That he was the guy who changed the filter and does all that stuff. When's
we hired them to come over and do important work at our house.
I don't know if those people exist. Tim, my son-in-law, he's a real man.
Yeah, he's too well dressed to be a real man.
No, I think that makes him a Renaissance man.
That's what you would say.
Yeah. Something goes wrong in the house. Tanya will say, well, can you fix that? And I'm like, of course I can. Where's your phone? Let me call Tim. All right. I don't even changing the filter, all of that stuff. I forget. I forget. This is the way you need to change your filters. FilterBuy.com. They are America's leading provider of HVAC filters for homes and small businesses. They'll make them custom made. They have over 600 sizes. They ship for free within 24 hours. They're made here in America, so it's all, supporting workers here in America. And here's the best part. You save 5% if you subscribe for auto replacement. So you just call them up and you're like, or you just get online and you're like, okay, I need that filter for this. And it tells you how many times you're supposed to change it, when you're supposed to, and it just shows up. So then it's there. So you can say, honey, you got to change the filter again. Filter Buy. Save time, save money. You'll breathe better. You will have an HVAC system that won't burn out on you. It's Filter Buy. FilterBuy.com. That's FilterBuy.com. Now that I've brought up the void, now that's all Stu is going to talk about all day.
I'm not listening to any of your points.
Yeah.
By the way, in the news and why it matters, my top story was going to be the void. If you could just mark that down.
So great.
I'm going to be talking about that.
How much time do I have here, Sarah? Let me take Isaac in Texas. Hello, Isaac. You're on the Glenn Beck program.
Yeah. Honor to speak to you, sir.
Thank you.
I'm a millennial. I have two quick things to thank you for. First is for helping me realize, not turn me into a conservative, but helping me realize that I already was a conservative.
Oh, wow.
And along those lines, I was listening to hour 3 of yesterday's program with Riaz Patel, and I just want to say thank you, and that I think, you always say that if we're to save the nation, that it'll be your audience that plays a huge role in it, and I think that's true, because I think when history looks back, if we do save ourselves from this, that you are going to be a huge part of that. And I really appreciate your approach and what you're doing.
Well,
and I just wanted to thank you for that.
That is amazing. Thank you so much. How old are you, Isaac?
26.
26. And what are you doing with your life?
I own a tree service in Waco.
Good for you, man. Entrepreneur at 26. Good for you. How's business? Give yourself a plug.
Yeah, it's good. Isaac and Pal's Tree Service. Business has been great. I'd be remiss if I didn't ask for, I haven't read it yet, but a copy of Addicted to Outrage.
I just made it out to you, so it's going to be on the way, so I'm going to put you on hold. We'll get your address and where to send it, and we will send it out to you. Do you ever do tree service up in the Dallas area? Could I convince you to do that?
Yeah, occasionally I go that far north.
Okay, well, I may reach out to you because I've got a lot of trees.